On Guadalcanal in the Solomon Islands, a failed bonsai charge leaves a Japanese officer dead in the mud. A bonsai charge was a mass infantry rush. Beside the body lies an untouched gumto, the curved sword carried by an officer. A young Marine spots the blade from cover. He steps out and reaches toward its handle. Then the earth beneath him bursts apart. The officer's body was not the trap. The sword was the bait, placed where anyone seeking it had to step. The visible blade drew the Marine forward while the danger remained under the ground. After incidents like this, commanders gave a blunt order: leave found swords where they lie. Leave them in the mud. That order covered more than swords. In 1942, American soldiers crossed Guadalcanal for other prizes. They had landed in jungle and searched bodies or abandoned ground for keepsakes. By mid-October, a captured Japanese pilot reportedly noticed the habit. He described Japanese soldiers fighting for their emperor and Marines fighting for souvenirs. Marine veteran William Manchester recalled the same joke later. The search had already killed men. At the Tenaru, Marines placed each step carefully between the bodies and checked every object before reaching for it. On August 21, 1942, Colonel Kiyono Ichiki attacked Marines holding the Tenaru line with roughly 900 men of the 28th Infantry Regiment. The assault ended by morning. Ichiki's detachment was destroyed. Robert Leckie watched the aftermath. He later became a writer. In his memoir, he described souvenir hunters moving cautiously among the dead, afraid that a body or discarded object might conceal a trap. The battle left trophies everywhere. It made each one dangerous. By morning, remains of roughly 900 men from Ichiki's detachment lay on the field. That uncertainty followed the Marines from the field. Many men later called every curved blade a samurai sword. They were wrong. Gunto simply meant military sword. The Type 98 Shin Gunto was the standard army officer's blade, adopted in 1938. The earlier Type 94 had finer fittings. Sergeants carried the Type 95, stamped with a serial number. The Navy issued the Kai Gunto with a black ray-skin scabbard. That number clearly separated a sergeant's sword from officer versions. That difference in serial marks said nothing about the steel beneath the fittings. A blade lifted from the mud could look like an ordinary military trophy. Most wartime blades used factory steel and came from mass production. A smaller group came from traditional forging. Some had passed through families for hundreds of years, then entered the war in plain military mounts. At Seki, one cited estimate puts fully traditional blades at about 6%. The rest could look similar. In darkness, the person who picked up a blade could not know its origin. That uncertainty extended to pistols. In American hands, the next trophy could resemble a German Luger, yet it was a Japanese Type 14 Nambu. It was an officer's sidearm, chambered for an 8 by 22 mm cartridge. About 400,000 were made. No exact total survives. Japanese soldiers treated weapons as the emperor's property and destroyed many before capture. The smaller Type 94 brought another danger. Its exposed sear bar could fire when struck. After the pistols, men packed lighter prizes, folded flags, and 1,000-stitch belts. Families and neighbors covered each Japanese good luck flag with signatures, and its owner carried it folded against his chest. 1,000 different women sewed each belt. Every stitch was meant to stop a bullet. Names filled the folded flag. The belt held 1,000 stitches. Small, personal, and easy to mail home, both became the Pacific War's most common souvenirs. Demand spread among American troops. Fakes appeared near the fighting. Australian troops made fake samurai swords for American buyers. On Guadalcanal, United States Marines forged Japanese flags with writing copied from canned food labels. Those forged trophies had a dangerous counterpart. A real sword or flag could draw a soldier onto mined ground. The popular version shows a katana on a dead officer's chest. A near-invisible wire runs from its hilt to a buried fragmentation grenade. A Marine lifts the blade, the wire tightens, and the grenade kills the squad. Intelligence documents do not confirm that mechanism. The record places the danger elsewhere. In December 1944, the United States War Department issued an intelligence bulletin. It included an account from a cavalryman in the Admiralty Islands. He reported Japanese troops placing traps around swords and flags. Their usual method was simpler. They set a landmine close to the trophy, where a man would step while reaching for it. The mine lay in the dirt. It targeted the foot, not the hand. The sword or flag remained visible, but the ground beside it carried the charge. The man approaching it supplied the pressure. The mine was placed for that step. A soldier did not need to touch the hilt. Walking forward could trigger the mine. The War Department circulated the report because this method produced results.
The December bulletin preserves the cavalryman's account. A landmine waited beside the trophy. A sought-after sword gave Japanese troops another chance to exploit the danger described in the December bulletin. For an American soldier, a gleaming blade among abandoned equipment could look like a valuable souvenir. For the officer who carried it, the gunto marked rank and honor. That difference carried real risk. The sword could become effective bait. In the 1930s, Japanese militarists revived the cult of the sword and linked it to samurai tradition. They presented bushido as the way of the warrior, while the gunto remained an officer's visible badge. The blade tied rank to personal identity and military status. It was not ordinary equipment. Its value drew a soldier's eye. After 1943, Japanese forces defended positions rather than advancing across new ground. Engineers placed traps in caves, graves, abandoned positions, and beside the bodies of dead soldiers. A sword left in plain sight could pull a soldier toward ground prepared for a blast. The metal caught the daylight. The ground concealed the danger. The lure needed no speech. It relied on the item itself and on the decision to pick it up. After 1943, Japanese engineers left traps in caves, graves, abandoned positions, and near dead bodies. On Saipan, the danger moved to the cave mouth. A sword lay in the light. A rifle could lie beside it. Japanese troops hid in natural caves on this Mariana Island during the summer of 1944. They placed either item where a souvenir hunter would spot it. Then, a man stepped closer, while a sniper waited farther back in the dark. The bait needed no wire. It needed one decision. A senior American officer recorded the method in an intelligence bulletin and reported many unnecessary casualties. His conclusion was plain. The trick worked. He urged commanders to close those areas while snipers remained inside. The report documented losses and a clear recommendation: leave the swords and rifles where they lay. That warning covered more than rifles and swords. 3 Japanese grenades, Type 91, Type 97, and Type 99, could turn a discarded object into a trap. A soldier removed the pin. He wedged the grenade beneath a board, an object, or a body, then left it there. No elaborate wiring was needed. The grenade stayed hidden under the item, waiting for someone to disturb it. When grenade supplies ran low, Japanese troops improvised with captured ammunition. On Tarakan, off Borneo, Australian troops found a trap made from a captured Dutch naval shell, 12.7 centimeters in caliber. A trophy could conceal a grenade beneath its edge, or something far larger. After Tarakan, infantrymen met the same danger on Peleliu and Okinawa. Traps waited at tombs and cave mouths. Peleliu lies in Palau. Okinawa belongs to the Ryukyu Islands. Corporal Joseph Pizzamenti saw one placed in the center of a tomb entrance. The dark opening offered no safe edge. A step toward cover could set off the trap. Before these later battles, fighting had already passed through Guadalcanal, Attu, and the Admiralty Islands. Eugene Sledge served as a mortarman in K Company, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines. In his memoir, With the Old Breed, he described Marines trading battlefield trophies among themselves. Those objects still changed hands. Commanders repeated their warnings. Many men ignored them. Tombs and caves on both islands made every entrance suspect. Yet trophy hunting continued despite the orders. Those ignored warnings forced officers to tighten control. On Saipan, an officer asked that an area be closed to anyone collecting fines. Commanders marked such ground off limits. Soldiers could not pick up what lay there. The orders addressed 3 risks at once. A discarded object could hide danger, contain intelligence, or damage unit discipline. Officers repeated the warnings. They also invoked the 80th Article of War, which governed captured and abandoned property. The article threatened violators. It did not mean every soldier who took a sword faced a court-martial. Commanders closed dangerous areas and cited the 80th Article of War. Those restrictions reached beyond weapons and papers. In September 1942, Admiral Chester Nimitz issued a separate order. American personnel could not take any part of a dead enemy's body as a souvenir. Violators faced stern disciplinary action. The order named a practice already reported in the Pacific. Some American troops removed gold teeth, ears, and skulls from Japanese dead. A year later, General Marshall sent General MacArthur a radio message about reports of mutilation. In January 1944, the Joint Chiefs of Staff issued another directive against it. The repeated orders recorded a real breach of discipline. They do not prove that most servicemen took part. Historians still dispute how widely it occurred. Most did not participate. Some did. The January 1944 directive from the Joint Chiefs repeated the ban. Those orders addressed conduct. Sledge recorded a second threat around the dead: disease. Tropical heat quickly broke bodies down, while fear and filth followed troops through the fighting. Searching corpses for souvenirs could bring illness before a mine or sniper killed the man searching. The danger had several sources. Mines lay in the dirt. Snipers waited in caves. A battle order, carried home as a keepsake, could also deny commanders intelligence. Japanese officers and sergeants carried more than 1 million swords into the war. Hundreds of thousands later crossed the Pacific in American duffel bags. Most came from surrenders, abandoned stores, or bodies with no trap attached. Booby-trapped trophies existed, but Japanese mines posed the larger danger. Still, darkness changed the choice. A soldier reaching for a blade could not know whether it had been left without a trap. What entered a soldier's pack during the war later surfaced in old boxes, American attics, and closets. Most Japanese swords taken home never returned to Japan. Many remained hidden for decades beside flags carried from the Pacific. Folded inside those boxes were good luck flags, marked with rows of handwritten signatures. One estimate places more than 50,000 in the United States. Another 200,000 remain in other countries. The flags carry names. That gives investigators a starting point. The Oban Society in Astoria, Oregon, reads those signatures and traces them to a town, then to the owner's family. It reports returning more than 750 items. More than 1,100,000 Japanese servicemen are still listed as missing. Each returned flag is one of the few surviving traces tied to a named person. The object once lifted from the ground now leaves an American house. The Oban Society reports returning more than 750 Japanese belongings to their families.